And welcome back. Well, our next guest is a New York Times best-selling author, and she's here with her two most recent books. We are thrilled to welcome Tami Charles to chat about her young adult novel, which is Muted. That's about the dark side of the music industry, and her picture book, All Because You Matter, an ode to Black and brown children everywhere that is full of hope, assurance, and love. We're so excited to have you here. Good morning to you, Tami.
Good morning, Tiffany. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm so excited to chat with you. I'm a little obsessed with your background. You have literally been a teacher or an educator, I should say. You've been an R&B singer, you're a mother, and you're a New York Times best-selling author. And I want to get to all of that, but I just wanted to chat with you a little bit first about your inspiration for your first book, which is Muted, because this one is where I said sort of based on true events of you being an R&B singer.
Yes. Okay. So the inspiration, this was the book that I kind of didn't want to write this story. It's funny how stories come out of, or opportunity comes out of rejection. I had written a story that had got rejected by a publisher. And they came back to my agent and they said, "Hey, we just checked her website, and a little fun fact that she used to sing in an R&B group. If she ever writes a novel about that, we want to see it." So I just kind of shrugged it off and I was like, "Oh, I don't have an idea for that. What would I write about?" But as time went on, a lot of these Me Too stories really started taking the national spotlight. And we saw them in documentaries like Surviving R. Kelly and Untouchable, and most recently on The Record. And that was kind of like the light bulb moment for me. I said, you know what? Yeah, I used to be in a singing group, and it's a roller coaster. And it's the type of industry that will, pull you in and won't let go. And you have to kind of figure your way out, or if it's worth staying. And so I said, yeah, this is a story that I can write. So that's how Muted came about. A singing group from small town Pennsylvania who will really just do anything to make it big.
I love that. I love that story. I love that there's that personal connection for you that you've probably poured into that. I know it's for young adults. It explores that dark side, like you said, of the music industry. I'm always curious too about the cover that authors choose, and I think the one you chose for that is so beautiful. I'm wondering if there's a representation, if it means something to you.
It does. So I love this cover.
Beautiful.
This is the leader of the singing group. Her name is Denver. And in the cover, you see a girl that's busting through the word muted. I love the representation of that. It's almost like she's unclicking that mute button. She's found the power of her voice. And if you look really closely, you'll see that she has two different color eyes. That's a condition known as heterochromia. She has one brown eye and one blue eye. There's symbolism behind that. The brown eye represents the earth, home, where she's on her way to. She's telling the story from the plane ride. She's taking a plane ride home. And the blue represents her literally being in the sky on the plane, retelling the story of her experience in the music industry.
That's so cool. I love that's beautiful. I think people are going to remember that, notice that when they see it. What's been the highlight for you so far of getting this from, I guess, your personal story and on paper to actually publication?
So the best part of this experience is the main character is a songwriter. And I really got to dive back into my own teenage memories, and I wrote some original songs. And then I narrated the audiobook. So of course I had to sing the songs. So if you listen to the audiobook, I tried to make it feel like an album to give the reader a different type of experience. So you'll hear some
That's so
original
cool.
music too. Thank you.
Well, see, and then you get to bring out that talent that's probably been shoved in you a little bit for too long. It needs to come
Oh,
back out
yes.
again. I love that.
It's been
I'm
a
also
while.
excited about your next book. Yeah, yeah, right. Your next book. It, this one, it's all because you matter, and I love the description of this. It's part love letter, part anthem, and this is to Black and brown children everywhere. And it's you wrote that this is really inspired by the birth of your son, Christopher.
Yes, it is. So I know you're showing it, but I always love to show it. That's my son on the cover. That's my Christopher.
Oh. He's beautiful.
Thank you so much. So this was a very personal story. When my son was born, I just wanted to keep him little forever. And I think all parents can identify with that. I wanted to just keep him in this bubble and not have him see, some of the harsh realities of the world. But, time doesn't wait for anyone. These kids grow up and they start reading and learning and hearing things. And I knew that I needed to have these tough talks with my son, especially in these particular times. And I wanted to let my son know that whenever there's a moment where he may feel as if he doesn't matter, I'm his safe space. And I wrote it
Mm.
with love as a conversation starter for all those tough questions that children tend to ask their parents. Because when we have those talks, first and foremost, I want my son to know he matters and that I love him. And now let's get to the tough talk. So that was the starting point for it. And essentially, yes, I wrote the book for him. I wrote the book for all children of color and those from marginalized communities. But essentially, I wrote it for all children as a vehicle to teach kindness and empathy.
Oh, I love it. I know your mother was an educator, ended up being your principal in your elementary school. You were an educator,
Yes.
and spreading that diversity in what you read is so important to you. And I think it's a beautiful ode to your son and to children everywhere. So thanks for joining us, Tami.
Thank you so much for having me, Tiffany.
Absolutely appreciate it. You can get a copy of Muted and All Because You Matter wherever books are sold. And for more information about Tami, just go to her website. It's so fun to read about her. It's TamiWrites.com.